What's up, everybody? We are live tonight, Friday Night Live. Got a lot in store for you. We are talking about Biden's crazy mix up at the NATO summit. We are talking about uh, Serena Williams slam against Harrison Butker at the Espys. We are also talking about Don Lemon interview of Candace Owens. We're talking about that. And then lastly, we are bringing you Dr. Umar. You may not know who he is, but you will after this show. His outrageous interview on the Breakfast Club. We are talking about that. He talked about Trump, Biden, illegals, everything under the sun. We're getting into it and more next. All right, what's up, everybody? It's Friday Night Live for us tonight, and it's time for Pop in Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, along with Yana, and of course, Shelly E. All right, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Guys, if you haven't subscribed by now, what in the world are you waiting for? If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble, or you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. Guys, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand there's a target on our backs because we value freedom. But we must stand. Let's stand together. Subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. How are you all doing tonight?
Finally Friday.
I know. I'm so happy it's Friday.
And I'm glad that the weather broke a little bit. The heat broke.
Yeah. And it's raining here. We're in Maryland. We got rain today. A little bit of rain off and on. We actually needed it. So I'm not mad at it. All right, lots to unpack tonight. I want to start out with this NATO summit. So this was all over the news. I actually watched it live yesterday. Joe Biden, of course, they had the NATO summit for the last several days. And I think it was the final night, he gave a speech and took questions from the press. Here is a clip of him introducing, well, I'm not going to say anymore. Take a look and see what this is.
Spoon. Word of the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
You big dummy, see what you did? I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Okay, so that's the clip that we posted. I mean, when I initially saw this, I thought it was a fake. I said, this can't be real.
Yeah.
Kelly, well, I want to start with you, Yana, because you are from Russia.
Yeah.
I want to know what you thought when you saw this. And I want to know, have you spoken to anyone back home, back in Russia? Has anyone internationally talked to you about what he did? This huge.
Yes. Yeah. So I also, when I first saw the video, I thought this can't be, no way. Like, this is fake. But then, everybody was reporting it, and it is true. And the way that everyone reacted around him, it is so embarrassing, but it is also so hilarious. And in Russia, it was being played on every channel for like at least 48 hours.
Wow.
They just kept replaying. I mean, that's what I expected, but that's what I was told by someone who lives there. She was like, this is insane that this happened, and it was being played everywhere.
Wow. Shelley, what were your thoughts when you first saw it?
I thought I'm going to stick to, I think he's done. I think he will be leaving. But I thought, secondly, Trump has them so screwed up. They don't know if they're coming or going. So I wanted to do something in honor of Trump screwing with their mind. I have the honey.
Oh, God.
Well, I think at this point it's
That's
Putin
what I want to
who
do
is
that in honor of
screwing
Trump.
with their minds. I think it's Putin who lives in their heads right
I
now.
want to do it in honor of Trump. Trump is just all screwing with them. So every time they, like The View, when they say Trump, they are screwed. So I'm going to do that in honor of Joe Biden and the Democrat Party being screwed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, this was crazy. I think he's done too. I really do. I don't know how long he can last if we have additional flubs and just total disasters like he did here. That wasn't even the only thing. I mean, it was marked. The speech was riddled with multiple mistakes and flubs. I mean, he called Vice President Kamala Harris. He called her Trump was the vice president.
Exactly.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was this. If this does, I don't understand. People can't realize this man is a puppet. Then I do not know what you really are. You're the dummy. I mean, it's clear he's a puppet. It is clear.
So, a puppet who's malfunctioning constantly.
Yes.
It must be very annoying.
I know. I mean, he can't do anything on his own. I
like
mean,
the faces. Did you see the faces of his cabinet? Like the people who came with him, their faces when he's speaking, they're mortified. They look so just, they don't want to be there. And the other funny part was seeing the world leaders' faces when he announced the president of Ukraine, and they didn't know what to do with themselves. Some of them started clapping because it's like, well, you're supposed to clap right now. The others are like, no, I can't clap because this is not right. And it was just such a debacle, and everyone is laughing. But I mean, I almost, like, at the same time, it must be really hard for Zelensky. That must have been the worst moment in his presidency.
Yeah. And then Biden tried to, he lied. So as the press, after this all happened, and then he took questions, multiple press people, asked him about it, and he acted as if it was intentional. He said, I was saying that, Putin is on my mind, and, Putin's, y'all want to get him so badly. That's why I said Putin. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Even if it was intentional, which it wasn't, it was still embarrassing for a leader of the free world to say that. It would have been embarrassing in any circumstance. That's number one. Number two, again, the Democrats are in a tizzy. Now, this interview, if you take this interview by itself, you could say it was maybe 50-50. He did a little bit better than the debate, but this was not a fully reassuring interview that he did to shore up what's going on in their party. All of the, I guess, the dissent and the disagreement between Obama and the celebrities and media, all of these people for years have been working together to, what I'm saying, take down the USA, and certainly to take out Donald J. Trump.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, look at this. And I want you guys to take a look at this. This is Biden here. And he was at some type of media event. And you can clearly see he mistakenly showed a list of instructions he was given. I mean, look at that. It says, please read this card and tell me, what does it say? Please, the president, you enter the Roosevelt room and say hello to participants. Take your seat. I mean, they're going line by line on this card.
It says, you take your seat.
I know. This is the president of the United States of America. He has to have a card.
You
that gives
depart.
him line by line instructions. I mean, it's almost as if he's an alien. And the people have and aliens have to give him instructions. It's
well, you
weird.
notice he was remember he's been reading the instructions on the teleprompter as well, saying the pauses and what other commands.
Oh, say it again.
Yeah, this is embarrassing.
It really is. He's a walking security risk. He's a walking security risk. So
have you? I mean, I have heard that apparently their donors, Biden Kamala team donors, they froze their funds. So I've heard that that was the big news today, that 90 million or something that is apparently frozen until a different candidate or until Biden steps aside.
No, I don't think that's the full story. I think there's some debate within the party about whether or not the donors will continue. I don't think that's the full story that he has plenty that he already has. And if he were to step down, it still would go to Kamala Harris.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you though, Shelley. I think it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And what I think is the media and the Democratic machine, they are diabolical, and they are just going to we already see the leaks coming in through the media. They're Democrat leaks, they're leaks within the machine of the Democrat Party. It's just going to get worse. And they are going to continue to use the media as a way of just making Biden look worse and worse until he just says enough. I have to bow out. I have to bow out. It's no way I'm going to win, and they're making me look like a fool. I think it's going to get very ugly, very ugly. So we will continue to follow this story as we have been, but we had to talk about that Biden slip up at this NATO summit. So moving along here to Serena Williams. So tennis legend Serena Williams took a shot at Kansas City Chiefs player Harrison Butker while hosting the Espy Awards on Thursday, referencing comments he made during his commencement speech at Benedictine College earlier this year. So we did talk about his speech. I think we talked about it a little bit on our show here, but take a look at this clip. This is clip number 1 of what she said.
LeBron wants to win with his son on his team. I won with my daughter in my belly. I think we know which one is way more impressive.
That was 2 against 1 and it wasn't fair. So go ahead and enjoy women's sports like you would any other sports because they are sports.
Yes. Except you, Harrison Butker. We don't need you.
At all. Like ever.
Wow. And just so you know, in case you don't know, he was in the audience. So I want to start off with you, Shelley. What do you think about these comments that she made towards him? And again, this was in reference to the speech. And I have a small clip of the speech I want to play after you. But what do you think about what she said?
I think it was tasteless. I don't even see the point of it. I do think she was taking a dig at him for that speech. But again, many, if not all of these events, BET and the other awards, the Espy, they have really turned into political events. They're not about the talent or the sportsmanship or anything like that anymore. And unfortunately, here I go, Black women are largely in charge of them, all for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be a time where we could watch award shows from the Grammys to the Oscars to the ESPYs and not have to deal or worry about political stuff. Yana, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think that was in poor taste for her to make that comment about Harrison Butker?
Well, is that the man who spoke at a commencement speech? And I remember that he spoke about family. Like that's what I remember from his speech. That was the most important part of his speech, that you focus on family, focus on traditional values. I don't even remember what he talked about sports. Maybe it's because I'm so removed from sports. I really don't care. I feel like it's such a deflection of what's important, and this idea that, oh, women and men, all this, like which sport is more important. It's who whatever we want to watch
Right.
or not watch.
Well,
So
let
if
me
you
tell you, before you go on there, I have a clip of a small clip of part of his speech, and this was the one that was played over and over again, and made its rounds on across media. Now, again, just to give you guys context, Harrison Butker is a kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's actually, I think he's like supposedly the best kicker in NFL. He's very good. Of course, this year, as you guys know, they won the Super Bowl, and he is Catholic. He's a devout Catholic. And he here is making he was asked to do the commencement speech at Benedictine College, which is a Catholic university. And he went on through a firestorm of they called it controversial what he said. Take a look here at this small clip. I actually talked about it on my 8:30 show. If you guys haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe to that channel, 8:30 show here on YouTube. But here is his clip.
Speak directly to you briefly, because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
All right. So what is wrong with that? What is wrong with it?
And what does it have to do with women's sports?
Well, of course, he came under a lot of fire because feminists, leftists said that they took this as some type of shade and slide against working women, which I listened to the whole speech twice, at least twice. He never made any comments about working women. What he did was praise stay-at-home mothers, stay-at-home women, homemakers, which one of them is his wife. If it was the reverse, which it is generally where most people praise working moms, there would be no issue. But because he took the time to praise homemakers, it was the issue. Shelley, go ahead, Yana.
Well, I was just gonna say it's because you're not allowed to praise homemakers since the feminist movement, like really since the suffrage movement and beyond. The working mother is the one who is praised, and so when you're praising the homemaker, they automatically get offended. Well, and actually, maybe they get offended because they understand that they're doing something wrong. And kind of like in the back of their minds, they understand that they're not giving enough attention to their family. If they do have a family, they do not give enough attention to their children. Their children are being raised by somebody else. Their children have to be taken to an after-school program, and they barely see their parents. So they are not serving their family right when they're working so much, and they understand it. But you're not allowed to criticize working women or praise homemakers anymore.
Yeah, Shelley, what are your thoughts on this? What, as far as in context to what he said and what Serena Williams did?
I think we talked about that Harrison Butker excuse me, we did a show on it. All of us, we were on the show and we were talking about it. I know you played that clip. And at that time, of course, Serena, the Espy Awards were not available. But it's that, and it's also this. It's a racial thing. She was allowed to do that and say that because he's a white man and she's a black woman. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. She was taking a dig at him. And I don't think she would have done that had a black man, if he were bold enough to get on there and say what Harrison Butker did at a commencement speech, number one. But she was allowed to do that, to take the dig at the white man, because now in 2024, white men, just as some other people, but white men are attacked and ostracized simply for being heterosexual white men, or WASPs, as we used to call them.
Good point. Good point. And I agree. I agree with both of your points there. And I'll go even further. I believe it's also a dig against religion. This speech that he made, as I mentioned, was at a Catholic university. He is devoutly Catholic. The speech was very Catholic, and most of the speech was about different things within the Catholic religion. Now, I'm not Catholic, but different things that are in Catholicism, and that he believes, and how society has veered away from those practices. And this is why the left hates it, hates him, because not only is, as you mentioned, Shelley, he is white, he is male. As you, Yana, mentioned, he is, pushing back against feminism, praising homemakers, praising traditional families, but he's also praising biblical parent principles that the left can't stand us to do.
Yeah, and Satanism cannot stand it. Satan cannot stand it. And by the way, Serena, that jacket, wearing a blazer without pants, is ridiculous.
I think it was more like a dress, a blazer dress.
Ridiculous.
Like a long dress.
Forgot to wear pants.
It was really
no. I'm saying it was a dress. You know how the dresses sometimes, but that's
yeah. That was the style. Yeah, this is the new style now where the ladies are wearing the blazers. But hers was really short, really short. So it was almost the length of a jacket. Because sometimes the blazers are a little longer, the blazer dresses, but hers was actually about the length of an actual blazer. But I don't even want to get into that. I mean, she actually looked somewhat decent at the ESPYs. But recently she's totally taken a change since she's gotten out of since she's retired. She's got this platinum blonde wig. She's actually looks like she's gotten a lot of work done on her face. And she almost is turning into like a white girl. That's another thing. But this is what they do. And I wanted to talk about that. And that I mentioned religion. I want to move on now to the Don Lemon interview. So recently, Candace Owens was on Don Lemon's podcast. And not sure if you guys have seen it, but there's a viral clip that has gone out now where Don Lemon is asking her about homosexuality. This is it's cringe, it's absurd, as she says, it's weird, it's hilarious. And I want you guys to see this because this goes right along the lines of what we've been saying. The left hates religion. Even they don't want us practicing it. They don't want us reading our Bible. They don't want us, if they are against something in the Bible, they don't want us doing anything with it. They don't want us practicing it. And this is just clear as day. Take a look here. Let me see. All right. So I have it here now. And this is where it begins.
About same-sex marriage.
It's a sin.
You think it's a sin? So you think I'm sinful?
What's that?
You think I'm sinful because I'm married to a man?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes, you're sinning. You are in a sinful relationship. I actually don't believe marriage can be between two men. So I don't.
That's the thing.
Do you understand, though, Candace, and maybe we're not going to agree on this now. I thought we would. Do you understand, though, that the same Bible verses and the same scriptures that are used to call same-sex marriage sinful are used to call interracial marriage sinful as well. And so there are people who would say that you are in a sinful marriage.
Who doesn't?
Can you tell me which verse it is that would make people say?
The thing is that it's actually not there, and that people twist the Bible verses. That's the whole point. Thank you for proving that, because it doesn't say that. And it's actually, you're going to say Leviticus or whatever. It's not actually what Leviticus says. But go on. I don't want to get into specifics about the Bible, but that's not what the Bible says. It's just people using and interpreting Scripture in a way that they want to interpret it. So, look. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't believe that I'm in a sinful marriage, but there are people who believe, Candace Owens, that you are in a sinful marriage because you are in an interracial marriage. And I say that as someone who is in an interracial marriage, so I am doubly sinful.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody make a biblical argument against people being married that are black and white. So that's why I said, can you just tell me what verse that was? Sodomy is obviously a sin. But I've never heard a biblical argument. I'm happy to learn. I honestly, I'm happy to learn.
Sodomy is not just for gay sex, right? You know that, right? Sodomy is.
Yeah, it's a sin always, by the way.
Yeah, it's a sin between, it can be a sin between heterosexuals as well.
Yes, that's correct.
So, okay, but.
I want to stop it right there. Oh my God. Oh my. So firstly, this ticks me off when you have people who don't even read the Bible, don't go to church, and will try to tell a Christian about their religion. And this is what he did. And she asked, and she was perfect when she said, "What's the verse? You're saying that people are saying the Bible says that interracial marriage is a sin. What verse are you saying? What verse are they using?" He could not even give her that because he made it up. And she goes on to tell him that she made it. Look at this part right here. Wait, I want to show you this real quick.
You've never heard that interracial marriage was sinful?
I've never heard somebody make a biblical argument for interracial. I've never, and that's why I'm saying if you could present that to me, and maybe you're familiar with what verse that was.
Yeah, but actually it's not a biblical argument. It's also a religious argument as well. So than anything, that you're in a sinful marriage and that black and white people should not be married.
I mean, I'm obviously very aware that people could think that ideologically, but I've never heard that biblical argument made ever in my life. And I'm happy to be proven wrong here, but I think you made that up on the spot there.
So by saying that, no, I didn't actually, but by saying that you believe that I'm in a sinful marriage, does that mean though that I should be discriminated against?
No, I've never called for discrimination.
So you believe in the separation of church and state then?
Heterosexual couples can sin as well. I mean, I hope that you deal with that. I obviously.
So I want to stop it there. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this so far?
I actually thought the rest of the interview was much more interesting, I guess, than this part, because this was just a back and forth and it was meaningless to me in the sense that he's talking about what some cults have said about interracial marriage, and she kept stressing, no, that's not a biblical argument, right? She kept stressing that. Again, I thought this part, I was like, okay, let's get off because this is not going anywhere. She answered your question. Do you think I'm sinful? Okay, fine. You said you don't believe that. Fine. I mean, again, this part was just like pulling teeth in a sense for me. I really thought the rest of the interview, which I did watch, was much more interesting until we got to this part. So.
Yeah. Yana, what are your thoughts here?
The whole interview was difficult. I watched it. I mean, it was difficult because Don Lemon, I just wanted to strangle him. He is disgusting human being, and he is not stupid. That's why he is worse, because he knows that what he's saying a lie.
I think so too.
He knows. I mean,
I actually think I thought Kansas was a somewhat sly in some of that interview as well.
I mean, I don't have to like Candace completely.
I get you. I'm just saying.
She answered questions pretty well in that interview. She explained some of her stances. I mean, I don't have to agree with all of her convictions, but she stands on her convictions. And also, I mean, when it comes to this situation with the Bible, like, how could you even, like, that is so dumb to even say that, oh, in the Bible it says that gay, homosexual relationships are bad. So it also says that interracial relations are sin. No, it doesn't.
No.
So like what? Like he was trying to conflate it, and this is
and then he didn't even have anything to back it up
right.
with.
But he knew that wasn't true. He knew it wasn't true. So
he said that.
He is exactly like he was, when he was working for CNN. They trained them very well to lie. So just because you say it, then his base or his followers, they're gonna be like, yeah, see, yeah, that's what it's true. It must be true. Oh, and previously in the interview, he actually said that he was a Christian.
Yeah, but did you hear also when he said, when she said, well, sodomy is a sin, and he says, yes, he agreed it was a sin, but then he tries to say again, I forget what it's called when they. He said, well, heterosexuals.
Right. But that's not what, I don't even know why that sodomy is even brought up, because in the Bible, in a few places, it says having relations with a man having relations with another man, like as with a woman. That it was saying if a man has the same kind of relations with a man as with a woman, that is sinful and they need to be put to death. It literally says that in the Bible.
It says it multiple times. I mean, I don't understand. This is the thing, and I don't want to get into a big biblical conversation, but to me, it's this is what they do all the time when it comes to same sex. My issue, it's not even the issue. If you are gay or whatever you are, then be what you want to be, do what you want to do. I don't care. But don't tell me as a Bible believer that what I believe is wrong. He brought it up. She wasn't out here telling him, what she believed until he asked her.
Exactly. That's why I said this part was not, I thought the rest of the interview was more interesting.
And then they conflate things with homosexuality. There is nothing more clear to me. I mean, within the Bible and within religious circles, people argue about whether Jesus is coming before the tribulation or after the tribulation. People argue about, speaking in tongues. They debate. There is nothing more clear in the Bible than God does not allow, and he does not, it is sinful to be homosexual, to do homosexual acts. It's clear. Now, if you're doing what you want to do, then do it. But we as Christians understand it's a sin, and this is what we believe.
And to use Black people to promote homosexual marriage, that should be considered sinful. To use Black people, to use interracial marriage, idea of interracial marriage, in order to promote the normalization of homosexuality, that should be embarrassing. That you are using, someone else's struggle with racism to promote your deviancy.
Right. Yeah. But they do this. This is what this group does. This LGBT mafia. They ride on the coattails and backs of every other movement, what have you. They are always riding on the coattails of the civil rights movement. They want Black people to lead the charge, within the LGBT movement, mafia, whatever you want to call it. And this is what they do because they know that it makes no sense. It's unfruitful. It makes no sense. And again, I am not talking about, if you're gay or homosexual, whatever, same sex, that's what you want to do it. I am talking about this mafia, the movement, the LGBTQIA plus trans, all this stuff movement. It is sickening, and it's a mafia. They're bullies. It is. I do have to acknowledge our super chatters here tonight. So thank you guys so much. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. I have Hail Mary says, God bless you, ladies. I enjoy your channel so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Hail. Oh, Abraham. Good to see you tonight again. Says, the government should not be in the business of marriage. Marriage is a religious right. Absolutely. And she said that on the interview.
I've been more and more like that over the last, I guess, few years. I would say more and more.
Yeah. Yep. She said that also. So, this was something. We got another super chatter here.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Yes, he says, hey, ladies, love y'all. Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate it. All right. So yeah, I don't know. When I first saw this, I cracked up laughing because she was just so matter of factly. She was just like, "It's a sin." Yeah.
I mean, that's how it should be. And the way that he was like, so are you saying I'm sinful? Like it's obvious. And the way that they're asking that question is because it's like to show that, oh, how dare you say that, because the establishment has already decided that it's not sinful. So it becomes I guess it's blasphemous from their perspective. In the left, it's blasphemous to criticize, to say anything negative about gay marriage or gay relations.
Yeah. And to me, it's just like, why even go there? Why
Well, I
go?
mean, look, to be fair, I think the interview overall was a good interview, and that Candace agreed to do it. She knew what some questions that he was going to ask. I mean, so I think it was a good interview. Again, I thought the up to that point, the rest of the interview, a lot of it was more interesting than this part, because I knew where this part was going to go, and to me, it went really nowhere, nothing new or nothing that was insightful. They agreed or they disagreed, and okay, Don, whatever, go on with your life.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But honestly, to me, it's like, why even ask her? He's not religious. He's not religious. Why ask her this? Why, you're not going to agree. What's the point in you asking this?
Being provocative. He just,
right,
he's been trying to make her seem like she's crazy. She's not homophobic. I mean, whatever. They're gonna think that, and that's just the way it is.
But like we said on Wednesday's show, they want it so we can't think that. You cannot think that it's a sin.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. And why do they do that? Because I mean, and this is why this is such a major issue, at least the trans issue is for me, and sort of why I was back in DeSantis when he was running, and because he made it a pivotal issue, is this is the basis and foundation of not only Christianity, not only the Abrahamic religions, but society in general. And this is why they want to twist it. Because when you say that, when you start talking about, there's no such thing as it should just be man and woman, then that not only goes against, that whole idea, but then the family breaks down. And not only does the family break down, but the relationship between God and the church, God and his people break down, because he compares the union of husband and wife to that of Christ and the church. So this is why they want to break it down. They want to inverse it, as Satanism is. And this is why, because it actually is the core of many of the principles within the Bible and within the relationships, most relationships that the Bible talks about. So, and they continue to push it, and they will continue to keep pushing that. This is not going away. And this is why we have to continue to be bold about this. We have to continue to push back against it. And we can't let them compare this to interracial dating. It's stupid. We can't. So that's that. I think we had another super chatter here. Did we? Oh, yes. Thank you so much. LAPD SWAT says Professor Victor Hansen stated the Russians want to settle the war, but their teams stated the U.S. side is crazy. Yana, do you think those loony elites want regime change in Russia?
I mean, absolutely. They've been wanting to have, the globalists want regime change in Russia. They've been wanting it for years, for decades. So, I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They've been trying to do it with certain people who were in the opposition. And yes, Putin is a threat to the global elite. So of course.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Good question. Great question. All right. So we are moving right along here, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on this Friday night. We got more for you. We're moving on to Dr. Umar. So just in case you guys are unfamiliar with him, Dr. Umar is a a figure within the Black community that he's a Pan-Africanist. So he believes that Black people, Black Americans, I should say, should have a community. They should be self-sufficient. It should be a situation where you remain within your community. Black people should just be with Black people, support Black people, marry only Black people, support only Black businesses. You know, he's a Pan-Africanist. And am I saying that correct, Shelley? Do you have any before we go into what?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know, he was actually recently on the Breakfast Club. That's a we've talked about the Breakfast Club before on here. It is a very popular urban talk show. It's actually a radio show with Charlemagne the God, and they had on there, I believe this week was Dr. Umar, and he was talking about the Democrat Party. Very critical. He was critical of Trump as well, but he was very much critical of Biden and the Democrat Party. And so we have a clip here that I want you guys to take a look at, and then we can discuss this. All right, so this is him on here, and just give me your thoughts.
Party. Do you know that New York City has spent $1.5 billion on the migrant crisis so far? It's projected that this year, 2023 was $1.5 billion to take care of migrants. $1.5 billion. 2024 and 2025, they said it will cost New York City $9 billion. Chicago has spent about $350 million this year on the migrant.
So he's talking about these illegals. He's talking about what's going on within the cities across the country. Specifically, he's talking about Chicago and New York and how they are pushing these illegals out within these cities and totally putting out the African Americans in it. I'll start with you, Shelley. What did you think of the exchange?
Like typical Dr. Umar, I think, okay, you said Pan-Africanist. Okay, that's, I also think he's a racist myself, to put it mildly. I don't have a problem with any group focusing on your group primarily. The problem becomes when you're only comparing them to one group, particularly with Black people against white people, and that group is the cause of all of your group's ills. That's what makes it racist, at least to my never to be humble opinion. So this is his line. This is what he does all the time.
Yeah. I want to continue to play, and then I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. Here we are. Take a look here.
Crisis, and that's expected to quadruple. And you know what was so disrespectful about Chicago with regard to Brandon Johnson? Remember all them schools they shut down in Chicago because they said they couldn't afford to operate them? Mm-hmm. They opened them up. Not only did they open them up, they renovated them.
Yep.
They renovated them, turned them into apartments for migrants. So you sleep upstairs, go to school downstairs. How is it that you ain't got money for jobs for Black people, which is a big reason why you got so much crime? You got all these homeless Black people in Chicago, but you can take care of the migrants before you take care of Black people. And that's why I'm hoping that Black Chicago organizes, just like co-founder of the Black Panther Party, Bobby Seale did at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Bobby Seale turned up and turned it out with the Black Panthers. I hope Chicago doesn't let President Biden and Vice President Harris come there, because you know the Democratic National Convention.
So he's talking about he believes that there should be some type of pushback against this DNC convention in August in Chicago. Yana, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Well, so I've listened to more of that because he also talked about jobs. So I think he mentioned in this segment something about you don't have money for jobs for Black people. You don't need money for jobs. You need people to apply for jobs. So first of all, I don't agree with illegal immigration. Of course, there shouldn't be. Oh, sorry, there's a delay. First of all, I don't agree with illegal immigration. Sorry, I can't. There shouldn't be.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
There's a delay. First of all, I don't agree with illegal immigration. Sorry, I can't. There shouldn't be.
Oh, I don't know what that is. There's a delay.
First of all, I don't agree with
First of all, I don't agree with.
What?
Yeah, Yana, mute yourself for a minute.
It's KJ. Keep talking, Yana.
Oh, everybody, we have some technical problems. Give us a minute.
Okay, is it better now?
You're fine, Yana. Go.
Okay. So there shouldn't be illegal immigration. One of the reasons why jobs are being taken from Americans, because I don't like to use this race. Sorry, I got muted for some reason. So what I was saying is that I don't like to use racial language that Umar was using it. All Americans are suffering from illegal immigration. And the issue is one of the biggest issue of illegals is that we do not know who is coming in. It's not, we do not know whether they're criminals, which a lot of them are, because we can't vet them. Now, the ones who are coming in to work, the issue is that they do not automatically have a work authorization, as far as I know. So they have to work under the table, and they're not working for the minimum wage. They're working below the minimum wage.
Yeah. So one of the, well, I'm sorry, what you were saying as far as illegal immigration. So one of the, what you mentioned about jobs. First, the jobs have to be there, right? But what Dr. Umar seems to almost never do, and he's doing it a little bit in this interview, he's blaming the Black people in the cities, the mayors, whomever, without blaming them. It's still another reason why they just won't do right by their populations. Why they always they're doing something else for illegals when they should be doing it for Americans in their cities. So he equivocates like this a lot.
Right. So, but one thing that I felt, I guess, me being an immigrant, I felt like, okay, like, why do you have a problem with immigrants in general? Because regardless whether, what color they are, because he was saying, well, Hispanics against Blacks and things like that. Well, if you want to work, all you need to do is be willing to work and apply for work. You know how difficult it is to get a job as an immigrant who does not speak English, as an immigrant who, well, especially if they do not have papers, but if you do not speak English, it's so difficult. But these people, they come over here and they're able to buy a house within a few years of coming to America. And Black people are still complaining that someone is not giving something to them. You know what? Immigrants are coming here and they're taking things. Of course, I don't agree that we should be giving immigrants any type of financial assistance. No, absolutely not. But but legally, if they have all their papers, they should be able to come here and take whatever jobs that are available.
And let me tell you, I thank those legal immigrants. My money was green, so I paid for them to do some services for me in my home. I didn't have a problem with it. And if the people were reputable, trustworthy, diligent, I didn't care what color they were. But it just so happened that these legal immigrants had the skills, the time, the wherewithal to do what I needed. And my money was green, maybe a little bit darker than my shirt, but that's what paid the bill.
Yeah, my issue with Umar, I agree with what he was saying about how the Democrat Party is bringing in these illegals and trying to replace the Black people in these areas, and with jobs too, because he did mention, and which is true, how they are no longer. He's talking about the education system. They're no longer asking for, I think it was something, the Regents exam in New York City, because they have so many illegals coming in. Now you can get a job without having to take that exam. But my issue with him is he's always talking about more so about what illegals are getting social services now, and Blacks can no longer get those social services. And that's what kind of annoys me. It's always like, well, what the government can give me.
Well, nobody should be getting those social services. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, his argument, I'm hearing too much of, why isn't the government giving Black people these social services? Now they're giving them to illegals. And why do we don't need, why can't we all, why, if he wants to be, Black, supports Black, then support your people.
Right.
Why are you always with your hand out waiting for the government to take care of you?
And the thing is that these are American citizens who are born here with all the privileges, with ability to speak English, and they're competing with people who have come from God knows where without a knowledge of English, most of them. And these are American citizens that are crying still that they have to compete with them. That made me think of Booker T. Washington, what he wrote in 1902. He was writing about, so I'm gonna read for a bit. It says, then there is a field occupied by the cooks. He's talking about Black people's jobs. You know that all over the South, we have held and still hold to a large extent the matter of cooking in our hands. Wherever there's any cooking to be done, a colored man or colored woman did it. But while we still have something of a monopoly on this work, it is a fact that even this is slipping away from us. Even here in the South, colored cooks are gradually disappearing. They have disappeared in the North because they have not kept pace with the demand for the most improved methods of cooking, and because they have not realized that the world is moving forward rapidly in the march of civilization. Then he talks about other professions also that were slipping away from Black people over 100 years ago. And still, this is the same, that people cannot move on from this issue and realize what needs to be done.
Yeah. I want to play a clip of what he said about Biden and the immigration crisis. And I do agree with him on this. And so this is him talking about what Joe Biden and his administration did when he got elected in 2020. Take a look here.
It is ethnic cleansing. It is residential genocide. When President Biden first announced his candidacy, during his candidacy, or maybe right after he got elected, he said he wanted to fast track 4 to 8 million undocumented immigrants to American citizenship. Why was he so concerned about fast tracking illegal immigrants into American citizenship his first year of office? You know why? He knew he wasn't going to serve the interests of Black America. He knew it. So in order for the Democratic Party not to take a big hit on election day at the polls, he wanted to fast track all these undocumented and oftentimes anti-African immigrants to citizenship to reduce the Democratic Party's dependency on the Negro vote this coming November. That's why Chicago's being flooded. That's why New York City's being flooded. In fact, my brother, I don't think I've been to a Black community this year who does not have a migrant issue.
All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that, on what he said there?
Look, I can agree with some things politically and some of the what we might call the conspiracy, the political ploys with Dr. Umar. I still think he is so heavily focused on race, particularly against white people. And you're right, the government handouts that is not helping him and is not helping Black people. But Your Honor, to your point about Booker T, actually, Black people were doing much better up until a time of the civil rights, even with Booker T.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I know I'm saying I know you're saying still. I'm just saying I agree with you. They were doing fine and on a positive trajectory economically, socially, education with their communities until around the time of the civil rights legislation in that era. So then things started going back downhill. We need to, I'm going to keep saying, we need to wake up. We need to reframe our thinking. It's not white people that's holding Black people back. Does that mean there's no racism? No, it's not. But racism is not the biggest ill pathology that's holding Black people back. What's holding us back is primarily our minds and then the economic the economic factors that will put anybody on the right trajectory to succeed in America.
Yeah, I agree, but this is being done by design. And I totally agree with everything he said in that last clip. A massive flux of uncontrolled immigration is the first step towards a global government. We know that the Bidens, the left, them Obamas, they're globalists. And first, it erodes national cultures and identities, which they're doing with this illegal immigration, replacing them with this global culture to achieve a one world government. That is the plan. He put it out in a nutshell. And so what we're seeing and what we have been saying over and over again, whether you want to make this a racialized argument or not, Black people are the first ones to be hit negatively by this illegal immigration, because where are they populating? They're bringing them to these urban communities, cities across the country, and they are predominantly Black.
And also add to that, yeah, I agree. Add to that, why are Black people the ones? Because Black people, by and large, in the urban areas are more reliant on the government handouts.
Absolutely.
In my never to be humble opinion.
I agree there. I do. Yana, what are your thoughts there on that last exchange?
I mean, yes, they're bringing illegals, or they're fast tracking illegals to citizenship so they can have more votes. I mean, that's obvious, because these people who are coming from countries, God knows from where, they do not understand what America is. They want these handouts. A lot of them have been taught the Marxist ways.
Mm-hmm.
So they're coming from countries where Marxism in some degree was taught. So they're coming here, and of course they will vote for a party who's going to promise them more free stuff. So it's obvious. Yeah, and also it encourages more of them to hop the border. So if you're fast tracking people here, of course the news travels, and now more of them are coming. So no, absolutely, that shouldn't be happening, and it hurts society to a degree. I mean, at the same time, on one hand, immigration is good also. I mean, but when they do come to communities, if they're legal, if they're law abiding, if they do come to communities that are kind of not the best communities, like in terms of economics, a lot of times immigrants do lift those communities up, because immigrants, most of them actually do come and they start working, they start businesses, but that would only happen if they're not getting government handouts.
Right. I agree there too. Yeah. And I know the left tries to paint people on the right saying we are against immigration. That's not the case at all. And it's certainly not the case for me. But illegal, and that's why I don't like this word migrants. I still say illegals. The majority of illegals, I still believe, are not good for the country, and they should be moved out. I am full support of President Trump's plan for mass deportation. And in the past, I wasn't, but we're at the point now where Biden and his administration of globalists have let so many people into this country illegally that now mass deportation, unfortunately, is what we need. It is the only cure and remedy to it, in my opinion.
Closing the border, because you deport them, but you have to close the border so they don't come back. I've talked to people who have come here multiple times illegally and went back to their country.
Yeah.
I was against it under every president that I'm aware of in my lifetime that has allowed it, Republican and Democrat. And then this is just an open faucet, basically.
It is. And again, as I mentioned, commies have taken over, and they are implementing their plan for a global world order. This is as clear as day. I don't see who doesn't see that. It's as clear as day. So we have to continue to be vigilant and call it for what it is and then push back against it. And that's what we do here all the time. It is our mantra for 2024 to make our community aware of these things, and then we have to prepare for it. All right, guys. So that does it for us tonight. I want to do final thoughts. Haven't done that in a while. I'll start with you, Yana. Any final thoughts for the viewers tonight?
Well, I usually say this. Don't be afraid to talk to people about your convictions, your beliefs. Don't be afraid to, if you're using social media, to post what you believe, because I think a lot of people are afraid to lose friends and stuff like that. Don't worry about it, because you will actually build communities this way and you will feel more authentic. And this is the way that we can fight back.
All right. Shelly, any final thoughts for the community?
Yeah, I'm going to say what I've been saying, but I'm going to change the order. So I have to make sure I say it correctly. Stand up, strap up, show up, and then speak up while you're strapped.
All right. All right. And I'll leave it on this. We currently have a president who is not there. He is out of it. He's not there. He's a puppet. But guess what? He doesn't need to be there, because there's an entire system running the show behind him. And what's scary is we don't know who specifically it is and what their actually agenda is. They were not elected. They're shadow government. Some people call them the deep state. This is what it is. But whatever it is, it's the globalist agenda that's moving forward no matter who is in power. We can clearly see that Biden is a puppet, but the next president, if they are a part of this globalist agenda, if Biden gets in or if Kamala's up there, they're going to be a puppet as well. And so we must speak out against it. We must call it for what it is and push back. And as Yana said, we have to continue to talk and continue to support channels like ours, communities like ours. Continue to like, share, and subscribe, comment, share this with your family, your friends on your social media platforms. They want to silence us, but we will not be silenced. All right, guys. So that does it for us tonight. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Monday night for the RNC week. Hopefully by Monday, we should know who the next VP is, hopefully, for the RNC. So until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.